What do you think of that sauna?
Well, one, it costs less. Number two, portability. 30, 60. Absolutely amazing.
Hey guys, here we are in Winnipeg, Canada. It's about minus 25 wind chill, about minus 10 Celsius, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to set up my sauna tent in the backyard here, and I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to put one of these things up. So first thing, you set our poles up, just like a dome tent. Put all your poles together. About this long. Then you'll have these zippers on the outside of the tent, which is different than a dome tent, and the rod is going to go in here, and the rods are going to run all the way on the exterior of the tent. Alright, next step, put in the floor. So the next step is to put in the floor. You don't have to put in the floor. It is extra, but it's definitely worth it, especially when it's freezing out. Little doggy wants to get in here. So what you do is basically this floor section comes in pieces, and they have Velcro tabs which line up with the wall here. And it's pretty simple and straightforward. You just kind of put it all together, and then it has a heat resistant coating and also has a water resistant material. So this is great when you got bare feet in here and you don't want to be on the snow. So let's go ahead and put that together now. Okay, so that's the general idea. You've got the floor in here. This one has sand and dirt all over it because I've been taking it out to the beach. And next is the stove. So here's the stove pipes. Pretty straightforward. I usually take them in big sections like this. Put the one out the hole, which you can't see right now, but I'll show you. Line up the stove. Sure everything's tight. Now you can see, you put the camera up here, there's a hole on the stove jack. protective lining here. So that's pretty straightforward. Next thing we're going to do is bring the benches in, I think. Okay, so these benches are homemade. They're cedar, so you get that nice cedar smell. But they're cumbersome as hell. They're definitely not portable, but you can buy portable ones online. These ones are great for if you're not moving around and setting it up in your backyard like I'm doing right now. So you'll do the measurements, you'll figure them out. This is what I've done. Pretty simple design. The next part is, I'd say probably put the rocks on. And then we'll get the fire going. Okay, so I usually keep a bucket of rocks. You want to make sure you space them out. And you still want the heat coming through them. You want it pretty. The rocks give it a more mellow, more of a consistent heat, but you want to make sure that there's some room for that hot metal just to throw off heat. That's what I think, anyway. Some people like lots of rocks. I don't really. I think some are good. But sometimes I put more. For now, we're just going to go with this. And the next step is going to be, well, maybe I'll put the water tank on. Sometimes I don't, but this time I think I will. I'll put the water tank in there. So normally I like to put the water tank probably in the first stage of the stove. This one's actually frozen with water in it. You can take a section of your pipe out when you do this, so it's not too tall. Now you can see. Okay, so you put that water tank here in the second stage of your stack. And a little tip, pro tip, man, that gets hot right there. Do not grab that when this whole section gets hot. Sometimes I use this water tank, sometimes I don't. Depends if I'm being portable or just hanging out at home for the month. Sometimes I don't even take this thing down for a while, but just showing you how to set this up right now. It's a pretty thick material, and there's some nice areas where you can put towels and whatever else you want in there, I guess. There's a window here with a flap that you can roll down. So the next step is really, there's also a hanger here. You can hang whatever. Some people might want to put a light at night or maybe a thermostat. So the next step is, there's one more thing I didn't mention here. This is an air vent. This is what feeds your fire, so you always want that open. It has a mesh on it, so bugs can't get in here. And another important thing is, as you look in here, I gotta clean all that out. But under here, there's actually an air vent, and it doubles as a tray for catching ashes. So I'll put that in there, but when I start the fire, I actually won't put it in very far. And this is sealed on the bottom, so the ashes won't fall onto the floor. But the more air that comes in the bottom here, the quicker your fire is going to get going, and the hotter it'll get going too. It'll burn quicker, but it'll burn hotter, which is what we're doing here in the sauna tent. We're not trying to heat a house. We're trying to get it hot and fast. So let's start the fire. So as I mentioned before, I just went and grabbed the tray. This is the tray. And I'll usually leave it out quite a bit so that lots of air can get through all these vents. So I'll leave it about there at the beginning, but I always throw it out at the beginning. I'll clean out all the ashes, put it in the tray, dump the tray in my garden. Okay, so this is a pretty important step, the size of your wood. Okay, so when you want to get fire really hot, you want hardwood, and you have to have it pretty small. You don't want big pieces. It's going to burn quicker, but it's going to burn hotter, right? So you're going to need lots of little ones. Like this stuff, like these little ones is what's going to get it going. You don't want to be screwing around. It's definitely little ones. This is a pretty decent size. Not much bigger than this. Here's some birch. You don't want much bigger than that, I find. You have to monitor it, but you want it to go hot, right? That's what it is. A few different rules to this than there is on a regular wood stove. Because we're not trying to heat the house all night, right? See, this is a good starter chunk. So what I use here, by the time I get one of these filled up, these little pails, that's about good enough for, I'd say, I don't know, I do 3 good long rounds out of about 25 minutes, 20-25 minutes. And this will pretty much do that. Then in between the rounds, I'll go and I'll take a cold shower, roll around in the snow sometimes, or maybe I'll even take an ice bath. But that's about the volume that I've found that works for me. Okay, so I've loaded some paper. I got my my fireproof gloves. I got my stack of wood. Now we're gonna load this. This is the tricky part. But this thing is a lot deeper than it looks. It's a lot higher than it looks. You can fit a lot more than I thought at the beginning. So next we're gonna put all these little tiny pieces. The smaller the better. Like this. Things like that. And then we'll get her going. Hey, Pookie. You're not allowed in here. Hey, little girl. Okay, so that's kind of how I load the first load. And then I keep it a little bit closed. So you just have you got the air, like I said, from this. And then you got a little bit of air here. Kind of keep it like that. Now, I'll wait to make sure that this is really going good. Load it a few more times. And then I'll go inside, change, get ready to sweat. Another important tip is to crisscross pattern this wood so it has some air to go through. As you can see, it's starting to catch pretty good. You can even put more up there if you wanted. You can start to hear the heat is starting to melt the snow here. It's getting warm quick. So now I think I'll go change. I trust this to go.
So you know that your stove is burning. It's not hot yet because it's putting a lot of smoke out. But it will get hotter for sure. There's your backyard sauna. Hey Denver, what do you think of that sauna? You want to go in? So this hasn't been going very long, but this is the kind of fire that you're looking for. That's the kind of fire you want. That produces a lot of heat real quick. You can already hear everything melting, but it's warm in here already. So that's when I start to tidy up. See, this is a thermometer I use here. It's 30 right now, but it feels a lot hotter than that. Now I'll just tidy everything up and start to make some snowballs.
Here's a little bonus trick. Make a snowball. Now take some eucalyptus oil. Put a whole bunch of it on the snowball. And now we're going to melt the snowball. Take that, just right there. And when the snowball melts, this whole place is going to be perfumed, you could say, with eucalyptus. And that is a little pro tip for anybody that hasn't seen that trick yet. And you can see the snowball starting to melt. You can really feel the eucalyptus vapors now. That smells really good. That'll clear your nostrils real quick. So, what are the three main advantages of this sauna tent? Well, one, it costs less. $1,300 versus $5,000 to $10,000 for a barrel sauna. That's a no-brainer. Number two, portability. If I decide to sell this house or I want to move, a lot of people don't like saunas in their backyard. They don't like the maintenance part of it. And if I want to keep it when I move, well, it's a big job to move it. And number three, ease of setup. I could set this thing up, as you saw, inside of probably 20 minutes and get it up to speed in another maybe 10 or 15. Right now it's pretty hot. It's already 60. And I haven't been in here very long. So for those reasons, I think that this sauna tent is absolutely amazing. This is the Walrus sauna tent. There's some others out there, but this is the one I like the most. It has the most insulation, and it seems to work the best for me. Now, as you can see, it's getting pretty hot in here. I'll probably go lay in the snow, roll around a little bit. But you could go all day like this, as long as you have the wood cut. And I mean, how else are you going to get a hot, something this hot without off-gassing or having a fire hazard in the house, which I tried, and that didn't work. I tried to build a sauna and it didn't work. I couldn't get it hot enough. So this does the trick. It's probably well worth your money, and I guess I would rate it a 10 out of 10. So as you can see, it's pretty hot in here. I'm getting a good sweat on. If you have more questions about this particular one, it's the Walrus sauna tent. You can get it off campingtentsauna.com. And if you have more questions about holistic methods and programs, you can look up me on zenkeating.com, and my book on Amazon called Out of the Dark, a complete holistic guide to depression. So until next time,